Hello and welcome back to Solid. My name is Jake. Thank you guys very much for joining me today. It is actually officially Friday. It is 12:09 a.m. on Friday morning, so it's Thursday still. We don't gotta play that shit. It's Thursday. I made it though. I made it. I'm a second show in a row where I'm a low loopy boy. And on that note, I do want to apologize for the show that I did last night with the midterm and everything. I totally forgot to plug in my this microphone, the good microphone. I forgot to plug that into the computer. Just realized that right now when I was getting everything ready here. I do apologize. It smells like, it's not smells. It does smell like shit in here. That sounded like shit, and I apologize for that. I'm not making excuses. I'm not one to make excuses, but if there were a person in my situation that was going to make an excuse, they would say it was because they woke up at 3:15 yesterday morning and they were very tired. Again, I'm not making that excuse, but you have to understand that if there were a person in my situation that was going to make an excuse, that'd be a pretty good one. Again, I'm not doing it. I just fucked up. But that's where we're at. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. We are here. We are here to talk about Battlehawks. We got a bird's eye, ReKAWp first, and then a bird's eye preview coming up after that. Got some awards that we got to give out. Real good spot to start here. Obviously, it's the same spot we start every single week. That's why I think that it's always a good spot to start because it's my idea and everybody else's idea. But with quarterback play, with AJ, got to start off with AJ. AJ, this game, he went 14 for 24. 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, which is a completion percentage of 58%. All right, that is AJ's stat line. I think it was the worst game that he has played so far, is what I think. And I know this is an easy thing to say. You can say this about everything, and obviously it's impossible to do. But if you took out the Hakeem Butler 80-yard pass, that's 133 yards that AJ threw for, and he went 13 for 23. I know, again, you can't take out that pass. That's part of the game, and it is an instrumental part of the game. It is kind of like the tipping point of the game. But this entire game, it kind of felt like he was off, and it's not entirely his fault. I would say the majority of it is not his fault. I'm an AJ apologist. Everybody knows that about me, because he had a lot of shit going on for him. He had an offensive line that's probably the biggest one that was banged up, not just banged up but hurt to the point that I believe it is. I should have had this tweet pulled up on my phone. Let's see if I have Twitter open. Jawan Bushell-Beatty starting right tackle and Vidal Alexander starting right guard are both going to be out in week 6. So it's not just that these guys were dinged up. They are actually injured. And he had those backup guys come in, the Donovan West and Mayfield. What the hell is his name? Magwood is his name. His last name is Magwood. See, I got there. He had those guys, and they played very well, and I'll get to that. But he had a lot of things coming at him. And then he also had Greg Williams' stupid goddamn defense, man. Greg Williams' defense is so dumb. Greg Williams is dumb. Number one, I know watching that game the first time, I was like, man, it always just seeing him on TV reminds you how much you hate Greg Williams. And then he talks and you're like, God, this guy sucks. I say this about every defensive coordinator is that they're all smarter than me. They are. I'm just a dumbass is what it is. I'm just a dumbass. Is simply put, if you looked at me and you said that guy's a dumbass, you're right. You are right, and I'm not going to argue. That being said, I might be smarter than Greg Williams, man. He's so dumb. He's so dumb. All the time. All the time he's dumb. It's like, yes, you do a whole bunch of pressures and everything. You're just throwing bodies at a quarterback. It's gonna work. That's Stalingrad, man. He's just throwing bodies. It's all he does, and it's so frustrating. And against the pass, he's dog shit. He's so dumb. That being said, it had its merits because it did confuse AJ McCarron and the offense for half of the game. I'm not giving Greg Williams credit by any means. If you throw a lot of bodies, yeah, if you rush 12 or if you rush 11 people, it's going to confuse a quarterback. So you get what I'm saying. So AJ did have a lot of things kind of going against him this game. But he did go 14 for 24 for 213 yards. Again, if you took the 80 yards out, it could potentially be 133 yards. And in that case, we're talking 133 yards, and the final score still would have been, what would that be, 39 to 12. And that's just a total, and that actually is more apt of how this game went. This game is more of a 39 to 12 game than it is a 45 to 12 game. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. Okay, so yes, AJ I do believe it is the worst game that he's played. Had some inaccurate throws, miscommunications, trouble reading the defense. And then again, he also had Bruce ReKAWpski calling in the plays late. For, I believe, how many weeks is this? This is week 5. Yeah, so for 5 straight weeks, Bruce ReKAWpski's getting play calls in late, and that's making it difficult for AJ to read the defenses. That being said, it does kind of fall on AJ. He did have not his best game. It's still a good game, just not. I think it was his worst game. The other side of that, let me go back to my camera screen. What I noticed the first time I was watching the game is it really seemed like AJ loved targeting the left side of the field, and I've never done a spray chart for AJ yet, and this is going to be something that I'm going to start doing for the rest of the season. If you're watching this, it'll make a lot more sense than if you're listening to this. But here's the spray chart that I made for AJ. The stars on this are plays that he scored. The X's, I don't know why I drew X's on the ones outside of the field. Obviously, those were incomplete. But you can see it. He's very heavily targeting the right side of the field. Let me count this real quick. As far as passes that went to the left side of the field. I kept saying right. This is the left side of the field. He was very heavily targeting the left side of the field. I'm very dumb. I don't know left and right. Let's see. Yeah, left. Okay, left side of the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, potentially 17 passes. I say potentially because he did get sacked in the backfield on the left side, and I can't imagine that he would try to throw across the field. 17 passes on the left side of the field. He had 1, 2, 3 passes in between the numbers, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right side of the field. I'm curious if that is a Darius Shepard not being there thing, because Darius Shepard always seems like he's getting those crossers, those shallow crossers, kind of like those intermediate crossers is what it kind of seems like to me. And Darius Shepard didn't play in this game, and I'm wondering if that was the reason why. Again, I've never done a spray chart for AJ before, and in the NFL they have that stuff on Next Gen Stats, which is just really nice to be able to have. But yes, AJ was very much targeting the left side of the field, like by a lot. So I'm kind of interested to see where that goes. If this was this game specific thing, if it was a Darius Shepard specific thing, maybe later on I'll go back and watch one of the other games and see and do a spray chart for him there as well. But that it was kind of startling that you don't want to favor one side. That makes it easy to defend. Luckily, he's got really good targets, so that'll be a thing. But let's get into those targets. The wide receivers. I brought up the lack of Darius Shepard. I do think that there is a very legitimate chance that spray chart being on the left is a Darius Shepard not being there kind of thing. Because the other part of this, I brought this up before, is that AJ only targeted 6 receivers this game. He normally targets a lot more than that because he's talking about targeting the running backs, talking about targeting tight ends. Normally it's like 8 maybe, I believe. Hakeem Butler had his big day out. Hakeem Butler had the 6 catches for 147 yards. That long at 8 had 2 touchdowns. That was killer. That's really good. That's the Hakeem Butler that we had been seeing Jake Sailors was the had the second most receptions. I'll say that. Four receptions for 17 yards. He was a big check down guy, and that makes sense because AJ's getting the pressure and he's going to check it down to Jake Sailors. There were some that were scripted for or designed for Jake Sailors. Ja'Cour Pearson had 3 catches for 43 yards. His long was 29 yards, so that's really where all those came in, and that came in on a third down. Had a big conversion there. Good to see that for him. Marcel Aitman only had the 1 catch. He did get targeted a couple more times. One of the times was on a 2-point conversion that he didn't come down with. No, he did not come down with that one. Another one was the one-handed catch that he only had 1 foot come down like on the end zone, or not the end zone, on the side of the field. But then there was the Steve Mitchell Jr., the Kamari Averett were the only 2 other guys. It's like easy to be. You don't want it to be easy to be able to go through the pass catchers. I don't want that. I want to just be able to hit like the top 3-4 guys and be like, I don't want to bring up the other stats. But when there's only 6 guys, it's like, well, I might as well bring them all in because what the fuck else am I going to talk about? But yeah, it was really just the Hakeem Butler show. As far as passing goes, and a lot of that has to do with how the running game went in the field position and everything like that. Because the running game, Jake Sailors 12 carries for 52 yards, 1 touchdown. Wayne Gallman 10 carries for 31 yards, 1 touchdown, and then Manny Wilkins, the backup quarterback. It was the running game that really kind of it was really hit or miss. It really started like kind of firing near the end. Wayne Gallman on the second to last real touchdown of the game. I don't really want to consider Manny Wilkins' touchdown to be real because they only had to go 10 yards, which I understand that they had shorter field than that throughout the game. But this was like Wayne Gallman's was when the defenders were still kind of trying. The running backs really kind of did it. I mean, it was 95 total rushing yards in the game. But they probably played the best. That Jake Sailors, man, I keep saying it about him. I just love the way that he runs. I just love the way that he runs. He not a big guy, but he plays so much bigger, just twists and fights for every yard. You love to see that. But like as for a 45-point game, and this kind of just holds true with everything for the offense, is that there just wasn't that many huge plays. What did we decide? There was only like five big plays, 7 big plays for 185 yards. Other than those big plays, I mean, that's why you're talking about the small number of catches for the players that ended up being huge yards. I mean, you guys get what I'm saying. Like, it's a 45-point game, but it just wasn't as explosive as you would think. But it didn't necessarily need to be because they had really good field position because of the defense. The offensive line, the starting offensive line normally goes Jared Jones-Smith, Steven Gonzalez, Mike Panashuk, Vidal Alexander, Juwan Bushell-Beatty. Juwan Bushell-Beatty's the first one to bite the dust. No. Vidal Alexander's the first one to bite the dust. And Donovan West comes in. Then Juwan Bushell-Beatty goes out, and Eric Magwood comes in. And then Steven Gonzalez comes out, and then Vidal Alexander comes back in to right guard, and Donovan West moves over to left guard. And then Steven Gonzalez comes back in the game to right guard, Steven Gonzalez comes back into left. It was It was a 3-card Monty with these injuries and everything. It was really bad. But like I said, the 2 people that the Battlehawks are going to be down and without in week 6 is going to be Juwan Bushell-Beatty and Vidal Alexander, which does kind of suck. But Donovan West and Eric Magwood, hats off, guys. You can't, especially Donovan West, getting shuffled around that much. The way offensive linemen kind of describe moving from left to right is like you're learning to write with your right hand, and then somebody's just like, "Nah, write with your left hand now." That's how it's described by players. And for Donovan West to be able to just keep going ba 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 and just bouncing left and right, huge for him. because they didn't really let up a whole lot of pressures after that. Like, they came in and they buckled down. Eric Magwood, my God, guy. On that Jake Saylor's touchdown, on Jake Saylor's last touchdown, or only touchdown, I guess, Eric Magwood kept, like, Jake Saylor's is fighting, getting so much closer. He's at, like, the 1 yard line, so close to getting a touchdown. Eric Magwood, heads up play of the year, just comes and just tackles Jake Saylor's into the end zone for the touchdown. That's a backup tackle that's able to have his head on, like, have his, not on a swivel, but have his head in the right, in a right place, not buckling under the pressure, come in there and do a great thing. Like, that was as much of a touchdown as Jake Saylor's got there. I think Eric Magwood deserves, I don't know about half of the credit. I don't think he deserves 3 points. I'll give him 1.5 points. He gets a full 2. Eric Magwood, congratulations. That was great. I think that those two guys, if we're talking about 2 offensive linemen going down, these 2 guys are more than capable of coming in and doing that, kind of given their circumstances, especially for the amount of shit that Greg Williams was throwing at them. So I was very happy with that. The offense as a whole, though, like, the key to the game for me is the adjustments that they made. Like, if there's one thing to remember this game by, it's the adjustments that the offense made. Yes, there's the Hakeem Butler catch. That's really good. But it's the adjustments, because we saw in the first half they were not getting much. They were not getting much at all. They were getting lit up. They were getting pressured. They had 1, 2, 3 drives in a row where they came away with no points. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drives in a row where they didn't get a touchdown. So things were not firing there for a pretty long time, from 5 minutes and 45 seconds in the first quarter to 14 minutes and 53 seconds left in the game in the fourth quarter. Things were not firing. But when it came to that fourth quarter, they really started to adjust. They were able to kind of handle what Greg was throwing at them. They kind of, like, saw everything. I think Bruce ReKAWpski started, like, letting the plays kind of. He wasn't trying to force things. Well, yeah, yes, he wasn't. That's kind of a two-way thing, because these drives where he didn't get it, the play calling was so abysmal. He was so non-aggressive. Let me see if I can find this drive. I can't remember which one this is. This was after one of the turnover on downs from the defenders. I wrote unaggressive play calling. This is actually the one where the Battlehawks scored their last field goal. I wrote unaggressive play calling. The first one was a batted down pass to Hakeem Butler, which is not a great throw by AJ, but is a good defensive play. A Jake Saylor's run for 2, and then Marcel Aitman had a 6-yard catch. And it was just like, it just wasn't, like, you just got a turnover on downs. Take a fucking shot, man. You have them, like, their heads are scrambling. Take advantage of kind of where they're at mentally. Take that shot and put them in the ground. And Bruce ReKAWpski would just not do that. But then it came to the one where Hakeem Butler has the huge catch. And you could hear after the play, A.J. McCarron saying, "What did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I tell you?" Few thoughts on that. All right, I believe there's a big. You put your conspiracy cap on. All right, put your This hat's not going to do that. I don't like this hat very much. It's fitted, and I'm not a fitted hat guy. But okay. AJ talks to a lot of people. He talks to his running backs. He talks to his wide receivers. He dog cusses his offensive line. But most importantly, he dog cusses Bruce ReKAWpski when Bruce ReKAWpski can't actually hear him. My thought, I think it's a non-zero chance. I think it's a pretty good chance that A.J. McCarron is yelling, "What did I tell you? What did I tell you?" to Bruce ReKAWpski, who could not hear him. because I think this is an AJ being like, we just got to turn around downs. Or a fumble, whatever the hell it was. We just got the ball back unexpectedly. Let's punish them for it. Let's take that deep shot. And it worked. That's what I like to think happened. But then it also showed AJ running up to Jared Jones-Smith saying, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I tell you? And that might have been Jared Jones-Smith being like, hey, man, we don't have any linemen. The rush is going to be coming quick. And AJ said, oh, don't worry about it. We're going to score in one play. It could be both. But I like to think, in my mind, AJ was telling Bruce Gradkowski, you dumb fuck, what did I tell you? What would happen if we actually ran a good play instead of a coward play? So that's kind of my thought on that. But yeah, man, the play calling, they're just so not aggressive. When it comes to getting the ball back or whenever they force a punt or something like that. Especially, it's more of the turnovers, because in this game there were a lot. But it was the adjustments. Then it came to the fourth quarter, and then they started being aggressive and pushing the ball, had short fields and everything like that. They really took advantage of it. So that's one thing. The other thing is the good depth on the offensive line. Being able to have the Donovan West and the Eric Magwood that could come in and be able to take over and not really lose a step. Some might say gain a step over Jawan Bushell-Beatty. But I did that. That's kind of my takeaway for this game offensively. Again, Bruce Gradkowski. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. I don't know. Okay. Defensively. As far as the defensive line went, it was really like the interior, the edges, the Pita Tamoipenu, the Travis Feeney, the Freedom Akinmoladun, to a point. Freedom Akinmoladun's more of an interior guy. The Carson Wells. They were good. They were good all game. Travis Feeney had that really boneheaded play where he got in a kiss fight with Jordan Ta'amu and just gave him a big old smooch right in the mouth. Ended up being a 15-yard penalty on a second down. That was really stupid. The Pita Tamoipenu, man, that guy's freaking good, man. He's so smart. He's so smooth. He's so calculated. Even when he knows that he can't get to the quarterback, he's got these huge, long arms that he just stretches out and puts it in Jordan Ta'amu's face, makes him throw these bad balls, make him try to get it around his guy. This Leviathan arm that's in front of him. Pita Tamoipenu is very good. Again, Travis Feeney also very good. But the interior was hit or miss. There were some plays where it was such a lack of effort, and this is specifically on that 10-yard or that 10-play drive that the defender scored on, because that's kind of where everything really seemed like shit's about ready to hit the fan here. We got the two penalties. You had the interior defensive linemen that were just kind of like standing up and just kind of like trudging forward, specifically on the touchdown play. Like you could see, who's number 95? Was that Antoine Jackson? Kind of just like stood up, was just like trudging forward. He easily got beat and blocked. I'm surprised he didn't get pancaked. But it's just kind of a lack of effort thing. But on the other side, they were also clogging things up in the run game, which is very good. It is just kind of a hit or miss game for them. I think on that drive they did get tired. I wasn't necessarily paying attention to it, seeing the amount of substitutions that DC was allowing, but they were going pretty quick. There was one other player that did get a sack. Yes. No, that's not it. Where's it at? Somebody got a sack on the Kobe Smith. Kobe Smith got a sack on the 2-point conversion. That one of the, I can't remember which play. I guess they had two touchdowns and neither of the 2-point conversions worked. But this is actually on that 10-play drive. Kobe Smith got a sack on the 2-point conversion. Those sacks and everything, or getting the 2-point conversion catch or throwing it, those don't go down in the stats. So there actually should have been 3 sacks this game, 2 for Pita Tamoipenu and then 1 for Kobe Smith. I just wanted to make sure I said that out loud, that Kobe Smith gets the props, because I like him. He's good. He's fast. He fights. He's good. And Antoine Jackson, I wish that I didn't have to say that seemed like a low-effort rep. So that's the defensive line. The linebackers, man, they played really good. Willie Harvey had one egregious missed tackle behind the line of scrimmage. But other than that, I mean, they played. He always plays fast, which kind of can be a detriment to him at some points. But Mike Rose, sheesh, that guy's so plain looking. Like if he didn't have long hair, he'd be a jag. He'd be just a guy. That's all he would be. He would just be a fella. But he's got the long hair. 90% of lacrosse is in the flow. So I imagine if you put a lacrosse stick in Mike Rose's hand, the guy's going to be a world-class athlete. I imagine he's got good flow. But Mike Rose played well. Had that interception, which I said in the reaction that Brandon Sebastian had the easiest interception in the world. Man, it's really up there between Mike Rose and Brandon Sebastian, because Brandon Sebastian, it was essentially fielding a punt. Mike Rose just had a missile thrown straight to him. Like it was like he was catching a ball when Jordan Ta'amu was like warming up. Like Jordan Ta'amu, I mean, threw it straight to him. I don't know if the ball got away from Ta'amu or what the hell happened. He was having a shit game, but he threw it straight to Mike Rose. That was really good. Chris Garrett had a TFL at the end of the game, and he also had one of the second block punt. So I like that as well. But yeah, as far as the linebackers go, I can't really complain. Nico Bolden is a name that I wrote down. Let me see if I can try to find it. What color would I have highlighted that in? This is the problem with handwriting notes and not typing them out, is that I can't just do a Control F. I'm not able to just do that. Nico Bolden had the first block punt. That was the thing with him. He had the first block punt. So yeah, that was really good too. I like that for him. Because he's a big, long guy. Oh yeah, that was the other thing about Nico Bolden. He just got signed this week. So yes, Nico Bolden and Chris Garrett had the two block punts. Hats off to them. That's more of a special teams thing than a defensive thing, I guess. But still good by them. Linebackers played well. Defensive backs. Buddy. Defensive backs, just to plainly put it, they allowed for 101 passing yards, which is stellar. Kelvin Harmon had 37 yards on 4 catches. Caden Smith had 25 yards. Alex Ellis had 18. Kiki Cootie had 10. You don't even know these. These sound like fake names. They sound like Chris Rowland had 10 yards. They just shut everything down, man. They played. I think that they came up and they made tackles in the run game, which helped stop that. I mean, for the most part of this game, Jordan Ta'amu was the leading rusher, and they came up and made tackles. Some of them were very stupid. Again, going back to that 10-play drive, the Quinterio Cole one, I didn't realize how bad it was during the game. I didn't realize that was a 3rd and 12. They force a quarterback to run. You won the rep already. And then Jordan Ta'amu slides down short. He slid down short of the line to gain on 3rd down. Just ignore him. But then he just comes in with the shoulder and blasts him right in the face. Ugh. Yuck, that was dumb. That was a really dumb rep by him. Other than that, he played really well. He near the end of the game when all the defenders were doing, I say near the end of the game, the entire second half of the fourth quarter, all they did was run the ball. And Quinterio Cole was coming up and making tackles and stuff like that. Brandon Sebastian, like I said, got that interception. Cam Kelly's interception. Mwah, 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 mwah. Beautiful. First of all, it was a tip drill. All right. But it was like the lowest of tip drill. Like that ball somehow, it was like in Rocket League when somebody somehow makes a ball accelerate downwards when they just barely touch it. Like the ball is like ricocheting off the wide receiver's hands, and Cam Kelly grabs it and twists his body. Oof. Cam Kelly. Good job, buddy. So yeah, I like the defensive backs. The other thing, I guess this kind of comes into a coaching thing. So I talked about the offense and the defense. The defense, I should say this, the main key for me for this game for the defense is just their ability to stop first downs. you stop first downs and make this DC team throw the ball, you're going to be able to beat them. I didn't expect it to be a 33-point win, but yeah, if you're able to do that, you're gonna be able to beat this team. So yes, it was really just the winning on first downs for them for me. As far as coaching goes, specifically Anthony Becht. This was so this is like the Battlehawks possession before the end of the first half, because the ball ended up going back to the defenders. All right, so it gets to be a 4th and 3, and Becht sends out his no. This is where Juwan Bushell-Beatty goes down. He got tabletopped hard. Like he had one of his own guys down, like laying flat on the ground, and then a defender came and just fucking tabletopped him right over whoever was on the ground, and he was down and he's out now. So it was pretty violent. So I guess what had happened. So AJ had taken a timeout earlier in that quarter or in that half, and then that Juwan Bushell-Beatty thing ended up being a timeout. And it didn't get marked. Number one, it's not even marked in, like, the timeout's not marked in the official stats on the stat broadcast thing. That's the official stats that the UFL puts out there, which is what I go on for pretty much all of these, unless I get them myself. But that did not get marked as an injury timeout or a timeout off of the Battlehawks. So then it's 4th and 3. Anthony Becht thinks that he has 2 timeouts. He calls one timeout to put the offense back on the field. And then in this play, AJ throws the ball to Hakeem Butler, who's clearly interfered with. Becht is talking about trying to challenge this or having the play reviewed, but he can't because he's being told that he has no timeouts. It's like, well, where the fuck did that third one disappear to? Turns out the injury timeout was number 2, and then the timeout to bring the offense back on the field was number 3, which is very frustrating that they didn't announce that. Normally, if they say injury timeout, the ref will say this is an injury timeout for the Battlehawks, which is just such a kick in the dick. It's just such a kick in the dick that they did that. But I do like Anthony Becht's aggressiveness to go for it on 4th and 3 there. I'm totally fine with that, because here's the deal. Is that this DC offense is they have a really good 2-minute offense. There's so many games. I think the 2 games that they've won, they have done that in the last 2 minutes with their 2-minute offense in the 4th quarter. And again, one of the games that they lost against the Stallions, they actually scored too fast in their 2-minute offense, gave the ball back to the Stallions, and the Stallions kicked the winning field goal. They have a good 2-minute offense. They actually practice that. Which apparently the Battlehawks don't. I think that they were going to be able to score whether or not that the Battlehawks punted the ball or if they went for 4th and 3. So I'm totally fine with that. I don't think Anthony Becht acknowledges that or would admit that. But from what I've seen from this DC team is that they would have been able to score on that. They're very, very good with their 2-minute offense. So as far as coaching goes, I'm going to give Becht a thumbs up for actually going for that. I'm sure that he probably burns himself for it, but I like the aggressiveness and the choice to do that. Is that everything for the ReKAWp? Don't drop that. I believe it is. Let me get a drink and we'll do awards. Okay. Award time it is. Number 1, obviously, we're going to go ReKAWp of the Week. ReKAWp of the Week goes to the player who is not the quarterback, not AJ McCarron, or goes to a player for being the best player on their team, not for not being the quarterback. I always like to say this. Last year, AJ McCarron got a ReKAWp of the Week because he called all of his own plays on one drive. He was being an offensive coordinator. He got the award for doing that, and he scored on that drive too that he called himself. There's a few people I think that should get ReKAWp of the Week here. Number 1, Hakeem Butler. Obviously, Hakeem Butler, 147 yards that's amazing. That's an amazing thing. Number 2, I want to say could go to Pita Taumoi-Penu because he was a menace and he made Jordan Ta'amu move. He was strong in the run game, made Jordan Ta'amu move, made him throw inaccurate balls on the run. So that's good. I could give it to Andre Schmidt. Oh, I didn't bring this up. Andre Schmidt, for some reason, I don't know if have I not been paying attention to this or what's been going on, but Andre Schmidt didn't kick the last like 3 kickoffs. Is he not the normal kickoff guy? I've never paid attention to that. I just kind of assumed he would because Sterling Hoffrichter came in and kicked a couple kickoffs, and 2 of his 3, one of them actually did go out of bounds. The other one was aiming out of bounds, but then ended up bouncing inbounds, and the guy fielded it. So yeah, I don't know if Sterling Hoffrichter is normally the kicker or if it is Andre Schmidt. But Andre Schmidt is not on the injury report. Anyway, going to KAWP of the week could go to Andre Schmidt for scoring 12 points and for kicking the ball 149 yards. That's pretty good too. It could also go to Donnie Abraham for just having a tremendous game plan. He had a tremendous game plan for this team. Hence the reason why they were able to get stops on first down. It could also go to either or both of Donovan West and Eric Magwood. There's a lot to mull over here, and I think I kind of want to give it to Andre Schmidt. I kind of want to. No, because Hakeem Butler I have to give it to Hakeem Butler for this one, I think, actually. I know that's chalk. That's really chalk. Man, it's close, though, because I didn't give it to Hakeem Butler the other day, or a couple weeks ago, or was that last week? Because he had a really good game, but we've seen him do better. And this is better, so by virtue of that, I would have to give it to Hakeem Butler. But also, man. Donnie Abraham's defense had 6 turnovers. I got to give it to Donnie Abraham's defense. I got to give it to Donnie Abraham. Donnie Abraham, he's having a week. Number 1, okay, he's getting KAWP of the week, the most prestigious award of the week known to man. That's huge. But then also, like, much lower, but still, like, pretty high up there, his son got drafted by the Colts. So, like, KAWP of the week and then son getting drafted by the Colts, like, that's a pretty good week right there. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Donnie Abraham. I'm sorry, Hakeem. That was a tremendous game by you. It was tremendous. That 80-yard catch, that was beautiful. I loved it. But Donnie Abraham's defense, he game playing the fuck out of this one. I got to give it to Donnie Abraham for his defense getting 6 turnovers and putting the other team in the defenders in position to have 2 block punts. I got to give it to Donnie Abraham. I can't not. I try to surprise you guys. You guys are like, oh, Hakeem Butler, 6 catches, 147 yards. But Donnie Abraham. Man. I'm giving it to Donnie Abraham. Of the week. Or no. It's not there's the KAWP, and then there's the of the week. You dummy. You did dumb. This one's pretty easy. This one goes to Reggie Barlow for his challenge in the third quarter on a 3-yard quarterback run. That was the dumbest. I'm gonna give you of the week if you do a dumb challenge. I don't care who it is. You get of the week. It was truly pathetic. Just a truly pathetic of the week. A challenge. What the hell are you thinking? A 3-yard run? You're gonna challenge for a hold, and then you're gonna argue that the guys were taken out of the play because they were being held? No, you're just a dumbass. And then his team ended up getting the ball back after that anyway. Like, you're so stupid and dumb. Reggie Barlow. You're stupid. Hot mic of the week. Hot mic of the week will come last. Because there was never really a good of the week. Coward of the week is going to go to Bruce Gradkowski. That one's easy, just because he wasn't being aggressive after getting the ball back. Here's another one that I found. After the first block punt, his first play that he ran was an inside run, an inside zone, and there was no plays to any of the wide receivers. After a punt, he didn't want to throw the ball, which is just not being aggressive. And not being aggressive is synonymous with being a coward, a coward. Bruce Gradkowski, coward of the week. This was actually the drive where they ran that shovel pass from like the 8-yard line, which was just really, really, really stupid. Okay. This one, where is it? Outfit of the week. No, I'm not going to do an outfit of the week, but it was 80 degrees and AJ McCarron was wearing a beanie. There was no other good outfits. I'm not entirely sure AJ McCarron can take the beanie off. Maybe he's like a Double D from Ed, Ed, and Eddie. He just can't. Maybe it's just brains under there. I'm not entirely sure. The unaesthetic move of the week, I guess, goes to the head umpire. He had two microphones on. He had one microphone go to the broadcast, and then he had a other lower microphone that projected to the stadium. And like, if only there were a way to have one. If only there were a way to just have one microphone. Like, I was watching the game with my wife, and she's like, why does he have two? That looks really stupid. I was like, that actually is that's a good point. That's incredibly stupid that he has two. Just use one. I'm sorry, does Audi Field, the soccer stadium, it's not like it's the game last year when they were playing in Vegas and it was on a minor league baseball field. Like, this is set up to be able to do this. And he was still wearing two mics. It was very dumb looking. It looked uncomfortable. It looked, I don't know. It was done. Audi Field deserves an award for having a bad setup. Unaesthetic equipment choice of the week goes to that head ump. Sad story of the week. This one's tough because there was Matheson, the long snapper for the Battlehawks, who was playing because even not in spite of, but playing even though his dad died on like Wednesday. So he's playing and he's like heavy heart and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna win this game. But they brought it up on the broadcast, which is weird. Just like let the players do that. Like Hakeem Butler ended up bringing it up later on after his touchdown. He's like, we're just out here for Matheson. His dad died this week. We're playing for him. He's playing through a lot. We're playing for him. It's like, that's all that needs to be said about the story. That's all that needs to be said about the story. And bada bing, bada boom, we're out of there with that. No reason to be sad. Don't bring up dead family members. Because then we're going to be like, oh my God, if things go wrong here, it's going to be a shitstorm for that person mentally. They do that all the time. Somebody fucking did that in like week 1. It's like, why do we keep bringing that up? But the other one, and they talked about it on the broadcast for like an entire drive, is Fred Keiss, the offensive coordinator for the Defenders, had like eye cancer. He had eye cancer, and they're just talking about this old guy's health problems. It's like, no one wants to know that. Like, yes, we're all going to get old. We're all going to end up having eye cancer. We're all going to have these scares where just like, maybe this is like you just wake up and you just can't see anymore. Like, we're all going to have that and be like, oh, well, fuck it. I guess I'm done looking at shit. Like, we're all going to have that. Quit reminding us of our inevitable rotten bodies rotting. Like, just leave it alone, man. Just like don't not during a football game. There's plays that we can talk about other things. We don't need a camera on Fred Keiss with his sunglasses on, because I'm sure his eyes look just rotten and decrepit, like little moldy grapes inside his like old man skull. Like, we don't need to be reminded of dying. Like, we don't stop that. We don't need to be reminded of dying while being uncomfortable. Like, and they're like, oh, it's amazing that he came back from that. It's like, did he? Because, like, I'm seeing what this offense looks like. Is he? Don't bring that up. We're done with that story. Quit talking about that story, man. Stop it with the rotten eye guy. And obviously that one's going to win sad story of the week. Yes, Mathison's dad dying sucks, but they brought it up, but they kind of moved past it. But the Fred Keiss, like, this guy, his eyes are just gross little prunes inside of his skull. He can't see anymore. He woke up. He's terrified. He ends up having surgery as an eye cancer doctor. It's like, God, what about HIPAA? We're not doing that? I don't know. It was very, very frustrating to me. And that's like the third game, or the second or third game that they brought this up with. Like, maybe I'm just exposed to, if you guys aren't worked up about this as much as I am, I'm happy for you. I've just heard this story like 2 or 3 times. Like, why the fuck are we talking about this? It's so dumb. So yeah, Fred Keiss gets the award for Saddest story? I don't know. How about unnecessary reporting? Fred Keiss. There. Unnecessary. Not saddest story because, yes, dead dad sucks. Unnecessary reporting of the week goes to the broadcast and Fred Keiss. As far as hot mic of the week goes, though, hot mic of the week, there wasn't any real good ones. There was one real good one, but like at the end of the game, they caught Quinterio Cole, the safety. They had him mic'd up. He goes, these motherfuckers are just gonna sit there and run. And I was like, okay, that's good, but there's no like AJ McCarron like cussing people out in a very hilarious way. There was nothing like that. Oh, a good one though. This again, not a hot mic, but a broadcast thing. Coming out of halftime. I believe it was coming out of halftime. Maybe it was coming out of like a timeout or something like that. But they, I think it was the Stormy Bound and Tony was interviewing Reggie Barlow on the sideline, and asked him about. She asked Reggie Barlow about Jordan Ta'amu being their biggest rusher at the time, and Reggie Barlow's quote was, "Well, if it helps us win, we trust him." This is at the beginning of the fourth quarter is what this is. They interview him at the beginning of the fourth quarter. The Reggie Barlow says, well, if it helps us win, we trust him. Jordan Ta'amu was immediately strip sacked. He was immediately strip sacked. And then immediately strip sack. Next drive is a turnover on downs. Drive after that, Jordan Ta'amu throws that terrible interception to Mike Rose. So within Reggie Barlow saying, if it helps us win, we trust him. 8 minutes after that, Jordan Ta'amu is pulled from the game. So that's a good one. That's good. Again, not a hot mic per se, but still very funny. My hot mic of the week for the because it is actually a hot mic thing. So they have Donnie Abraham mic'd up in the booth, and normally he just calls the plays. There's no whole lot of personality, but he's kind of feeling himself. His son just got drafted, and he knows that he's going to win ReKAWp of the week. So he's kind of feeling himself. The DC is lining up to go for it on a 4th and 2. I don't know if Mike just picked up that fart. I shouldn't have brought it up. That's a Trent Baalke thing. Like if I just didn't bring up the fart, you guys would have been like, "Oh, it's just a squeaky chair." Anyway, getting back to this, DC is going for it on 4th and 2. Donnie Abraham sees this. The camera is on him. He says, "Flex charge RO. Fuck it. Let's go." Which is great. Team's going for it on 4th and 2. It's like this could be a potential momentum swing. I mean, the Battlehawks were up a shitload of points at that time, but his candor is just like, fuck it. 0. Cover 0. Fuck it. I thought that was really good. So not only does Donnie Abraham win ReKAWp of the week, which is, again, the most esteemed award a human being can get on a weekly basis, but then he's going to get the second most, which is the hot mic of the week. And then like, again, way down there, his son got drafted. So like, great week for Donnie Abraham, man. A great week. So that's going to be my awards. Get another drink. Don't need to announce it. Don't know why you keep announcing all this. But I am, and that's where we are. Let's get into the Bird's Eye preview for Week 6. The Battlehawks are at home playing the Houston Roughnecks at 2 o'clock Central Time on Saturday. The Houston Roughnecks. This is weird to me. They're in the USFL conference, but because Houston had 2 teams in the USFL and the XFL last year, the Houston Roughnecks were in the XFL and the Houston Gamblers were in the UFL, and then they went with the Houston Roughnecks team name, the Houston Gambler team, but they kept the Roughnecks name and logo and everything, but then just threw them in the X. It's just been very confusing to me. I'm like, okay, I know five XFL teams are in this league and only 3 UFL teams are in this league, but that can't be right because it's 4-4. But the reason is because they just kept the Roughnecks name. I guess Gamblers, I understand why they changed it. It's dumb, but they did change it. Anyway, the Battlehawks are playing them. 1 second right now. I'm looking up the odds for this game. UFL week 6. Nope, that's news. Week 6. Battlehawks are favored by 12.5 points. I don't know what the over/under is. It's not saying that right there. I'll get you the over/under before the end of the show. I always say that, but what I also always say is I will get you guys the injury report. I have already talked about Jawan Bushell, Beatty, and Vidal Alexander being out. The other 3 inactives for this game is Tim Harris, cornerback, a depth cornerback. He's not bad. I do like him. He's just a little bit slow. Number 18, Jamarcus Bradley, a wide receiver. I'm fine with him being out. There was a play last week where both him and Blake Jackson absolutely whiffed on their blocks on a pitch, and it ended up being a tackle for a loss on Jake Sailors. So I'm fine with Jamarcus Bradley being inactive. And then Austin Faliu, the interior defensive lineman. This is like his 3rd game in a row that he's injured or been injured. During the game last week, the broadcast said that Beck was thought that Austin Faliu was going to be back this week, but he's not. So it's 1 defensive lineman, 1 corner, 1 wide receiver, and 2 offensive linemen, which sucks. Because that means there's a Abdul Beecham and something Trevor Salties are going to be the 2 offensive linemen that would come in for depth. But getting into the bird's eye preview, the Houston Roughnecks have their quarterback that they've been rolling with for the past 3 or 4 weeks. His name is Reed Sinnett. If that name sounds familiar for you, it's just because you've watched a lot of preseason football. But they also have this guy, the guy that they started with this season, named Jarrett Guarantano, is the quarterback that they started with. He is officially active for this game. This Houston team has only won 1 game, and it was against the Dallas or Arlington Renegades, so they beat the worst team in the league. I could see them going back to Guarantano. I don't remember his game. I know that he's more of a running threat than Reed Sinnett, so for all intents and purposes, we're going to assume that they're starting Reed Sinnett, but I don't necessarily know if they are going to. That makes sense, right? They got their starters coming back from the IR, but they have this other guy that they've been rolling with for 4 weeks who hasn't been terrible. He's not good, but he hasn't been terrible. Reed Sinnett, the entire thing with Reed Sinnett and the entire thing with the offense with Reed Sinnett is getting the ball out quick. The guy gets the ball and he throws the ball quick. If you can do literally anything to interrupt that one bit, you're going to have success on defense against Reed Sinnett. Let's see. If you want to make him move backwards is the best. Making him hold on to the ball and make a decision is the best thing that you can do. The way that this offense works, it's not like Reed Sinnett is like. It's not like he's making a decision with the ball. He kind of just has these reads that he makes, and if he sees what he sees, then he throws the ball. And oftentimes he's throwing it on his first or second read. But he's just getting the ball out super quick. He's not making decisions. If you can affect him, have good coverage, have a little bit of a pass rush come in, then you can really affect that, and you're going to make him throw bad balls. He's not good at throwing deep balls. He overthrows them a lot. If he's smart, if Reed Sinnett is smart, he's not going to throw a deep ball like over the middle. Luckily, he's a dipshit, and he will do that. So Quinterio Cole will have an interception this game. So write that down. but man, he's just not good. He's just not good under pressure. He's not good at diagnosing what he sees pre-snap. I think that late pressures will like a late blitz, maybe not necessarily late, but not telegraphing your blitzes is something that's really going to affect Reed Sinnott as well. I don't know, man. He's just quick pass guy. He's just death by 1,000 paper cuts, and if they end up getting behind schedule, their drive is fucked. Like that's just how this team is. Like he played against the best defense in the league, the Stallions last week. He was 27 for 38 for 203 yards. How many of those came off of short passes? But where's this at? Short pass. He was 20 for 25 on short passes. It's like he's just death by 1,000 paper cuts. He was 7 for 11 for medium and 3 for 6 for 15 yards or more. He's just, I don't know, man. He's just not very good. As far as their running game goes, they have this guy, Mark Thompson, he was the USFL's leading rusher last year, but they just don't use him. They use this other guy, TJ Pledger. So Mark Thompson's number 8, TJ Pledger's number 5, and they really like this TJ Pledger guy and not Mark Thompson. He is this last week was this week will be his third game coming off of an injury. He didn't play the first 3 games. I think it was a knee. But they just aren't using him, and if they did, it would be good. But they just don't. This team runs terribly. They have the lowest number of rushing yards in the entire UFL. Let's see, I just went over this the other day. Rushing yards, they only have 257 rushing yards, which puts them at 51 per game. They just don't do it very well. There was more rushing attempts that they had last week, where their offensive line was getting pushed backwards than them actually getting a good push. They're just really not good at it. I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. This Battlehawks defensive front, I believe that some of these depth guys have gotten enough snaps that I think that they're actually kind of getting a hold of things. I think they'll be able to hold a bad rushing team at bay. I know that's a hell of a limb to reach out on. But yeah, they're just not. I don't know. They just don't want to run the ball. Oh, that was another thing about Reed Sinnott. If he is moving, somehow he's better at throwing the ball moving to his left. He's a righty, so he's better at. He shouldn't be. He should be better at throwing the ball to the right side of the field when he's on the move. But if he gets chased out to the left side of the field, he's actually throws a better ball, which is kind of a weird thing. At least it looks better. But going back to the rushing game, their offensive line's not very good. Their tight ends can't really block. It's just not a whole lot going on for them for offense other than the short and quick passes. You just got to if I'm Donnie Abraham, I'm saying I'll let him have an explosive play. I'll have one safety deep if they can beat that. Sure. But then just bring everybody up close, because that's where the action's going to be. That's kind of just this offense. They're not good at running the ball, so they don't do it a whole lot. They do the quick passes, and people aren't very good at blocking. They have a right tackle, number 51. I don't know his name. Can I look up his name real quick? Let's see. Is there a way I can do that? What if I go to plays, defense? I can't. Starters. Number 51 on Houston. Well, I shouldn't have looked this up because I don't know how to pronounce that. NA''Ty. Natai Rogers, number 51, their right tackle. The guy looks like a monster. He's got this big old neck roll. He's got his arms taped up on the biceps. The guy looks like a tank. He sucks. He really sucks. But he looks like he could beat the shit out of 1,000 men. He looks like a gladiator, but he blocks like probably a gladiator would, playing right tackle. He's really not good at it. So I think Peter Tamoipenu is going to be able to have a heyday and have another really effective game. Probably be able to put up some numbers too. So that's where we're at with their offense. I believe I said he's bad under pressure. The hiding a blitz and pressure is going to be good. Trouble reading pre-snap defenses. offensive system allows him to throw effectively. He's not making decisions. Yeah, okay. Defensively, this team, it's kind of tough. The way that their defense doesn't totally suck, but they're not good. They're great at gang tackling. They are great at gang tackling, which is not a hard thing to do. You just really have to beat the first guy. That's the thing with this. Like getting the ball to Jakor Pearson, getting the ball to Darius Shepard. If they can beat their first guy and not get slowed down by the first guy, they're going to be able to get yak. Which duh. But it's just their defensive backs are just they're not physical at all. Like they're more of these guys that just like throw their body at you and they'll just doink off. That's kind of like if I had to define this defense, I would say that it's just not physical. Their linebackers, I brought it up before, Jags. They're just guys. Nothing that really stands out. They're kind of slow to reads. Because they're slow to reads, they don't really bite on fakes. But once they do make their move, they're pretty pot committed to it. I think that there should be opportunity for a good Jake Sailors draw. I think that there will be a big hole that opens up. If I had to guess, it would open up on the left side of the line between Steven Gonzalez and Jawan Bushell-Beatty. There'll be something there for a Jake Sailors big draw. Just kind of bring everybody up front and just have them kind of like cut through. It's the defensive line. This is the third week in a row where the defensive line, and again, not a high bar to clear with this team, but the defensive line is the best position group on their defense. They get pressure. They do. Again, I'm always surprised, and I think I'm going to stop saying it this week. I used to always say A.J. McCarron's not the running quarterback that's going to be shifty, like that's not going to be able to make guys miss in the backfield, but I keep being wrong. So I'm just not going to say that anymore. I think that they're going to be able to get pressure on AJ. I think that the scramble drill is going to be there, which is going to be great because Darius Shepard is going to be back. I think this is going to be a big game for him, and hopefully it is, because hopefully the Battlehawks kind of attack the middle of the field a little bit more, especially with linebackers who aren't very good. So I think that all that kind of stuff is going to be there. I think that this is a team that can be picked apart. What I kind of noticed is that it seems like once they but they're afraid of losing, but afraid of losing to a point where it really affects the way that they play, and the way that defensive plays are called. Like once they get behind pretty big, they just kind of panic. And not like panic in coverage where they're like, okay, I just need to do DPIs, just make sure that this guy can't catch the ball at all costs. But I mean, like they just call these weird pressures and leave gaping holes open in the middle of the field that I think are going to be really, really, again, easy to pick on. One thing I also did notice is that defensively, it kind of looked like they went zone man. So if the Battlehawks do get stopped a little bit on first and second down or get a little bit behind schedule, third downs are going to be there. I expect that the Battlehawks have a high third down conversion rate in this game, just because of the number of attempts that I think that they'll have. But yeah, they go zone man. It's very weird. If this dipshit right here, if this moron that you're listening to talk can figure this out, I'm certain A.J. McCarron can. Bruce Kowski, maybe not so much. He'll probably just try to call some more stupid shit. But I believe that is it. Oh, my prediction. Of course, my prediction, Jacob. What are you thinking, you stupid dum-dum? My prediction for this. Playing at home. So far, home games, Becht has gotten the ball first so we can start quick, make sure the crowd is loud for the other team's offense the first time they get the ball. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think that the Battlehawks are going. I don't see. They're not going to get 45. They're not going to get 45 points. But I think that a 31 Battlehawks 31. They're going to win this game. and I would lay 12.5 points. It's a huge, disgusting number of points, but the Roughnecks stink. The only team they've beaten is a team that hasn't won. I'm going to say 31, but I think the Roughnecks are going to score more points than they normally do, which is 15. Which is just 15. I'm going to say 31-18. I think that the Battlehawks will cover it by the hook. I think that it's going to be a 13-point victory. I think 31-18 is going to be the final score for this game. That is going to be the final score for this game. And your Battlehawks are going to increase their record to 5-1, have a chokehold on the top of the XFL conference. Hopefully the Birmingham or the Brahmas lose. But I think that the Battlehawks are going to take this game, are going to walk away with this game at home. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Improve to 5-1, be at the top of the XFL. That's not, I think. Again, that's what's going to happen. I keep getting in my head. I keep saying I think that's what's going to happen. No. That's the definite thing that's going to happen. And if anything else happens, it's a faulty game. It's a kangaroo court. It's going to be a 31-18 point victory. Battlehawks are going to win. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a really good weekend. And that's it. That's your bird's eye preview. That's your awards. That's your ReKAWp. That's your everything. I did it. I nailed it. Yesterday I did a what's it called? Like a midterm thing. If you want to listen to it, it's a lot of numbers. And I did it recording with a computer microphone rather than a real microphone, so that's kind of a kick in the dick. But you want to go back and listen to that? I think it's interesting. If you're not a numbers person or likes listening to anybody read numbers, I don't blame you. It's and this voice, it's. But that's where we're at. Thank you guys very much for listening to Solid. I don't know why I decided to plug this at the end of the show, because you're probably turning it off already. Turn it off now. I'm not going to say anything else that's useful. If you want to watch the show, go to Solid Pod on YouTube. If you want to listen to the show, it's Solid on Apple and Spotify. You already knew that. It's the end of the show. I don't know why I say it now. But if you don't want to look at me and you want to listen, you have that option. If you want to listen, if you're listening and you want to look at me for some reason, I got a hat that says "Make Football Violent Again." It's pretty silly. It's a pretty silly hat. Thank you, Andrew Sendejo, for that. But yeah, that's where we're at. Thank you guys very much. I will be back with you on Sunday with a reaction. Maybe I'll do it on Saturday. I don't know. I'm planning on tailgating and being kind of lifted for this game. But I'll be back with you on Saturday or Sunday with a reaction after the Battlehawks win 31-18 and get to be 5-1. That's where we're at. Hey, thank you guys again very much for listening. I appreciate all of you. Go Ironbirds. ReKAWp. ReKAWp is the law. Anything you want to say, just shout words and people will be like, this guy likes the Battlehawks. That's how that goes. Thank you guys, and I will talk to you after the game.